Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of NASCAR Total Team Control on the channel. And today the Truck Series is back, and we are racing at the Old Spice Speedway for race number 12 of 25 on this custom scheduled Truck Series season for the running of the Cheese Wheel 200. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already. We're about to have some fun. It has been actually a little over a month since the last time we ran the last truck race on the schedule. I don't think NASCAR was in its off season yet. And obviously it is now almost the middle of December. So it has been a minute since the last truck race on the channel. Just a quick refresher. In the most recent races of the season, Bobby Hamilton Sr. got the win at Daytona. 50% Texas race was won by Ron Hornaday. And Ricky Craven won at Milwaukee in a 50% race there. So those have been the last three races. Our driver Ricky Craven leads the point standings by just 32 points over second place coming into tonight's race. So it'll be interesting to see if he can grow that lead out. We will be starting at the rear of the field. No practice or qualifying for today's race. And finishes for Ricky Craven so far this season would include in rescending order. Last race at Daytona finished in 9th. Ended up 17th at Texas in that 50% race. Won at Milwaukee. 9th at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. First at Atlanta. First at Martinsville. Second at Charlotte. First at Loudon in New Hampshire. Las Vegas, we finished third. And then the start of the season wasn't that great. Finished 32nd at Michigan and 22nd in the season opener at Daytona. So we have had definitely a couple of rough races in there, but honestly not too bad of a season. 4 wins in the first 11 races, pretty good. 6 top 5s, 8 top 10s. Average finish of 8.9 so far through the first 11 races. So about halfway through the season, and I mean only 14 races to go, 13 after tonight, considering the fact that this is a shorter season than both the Busch and the Cup Series. So let's get into tonight's race. Blub, Sandman, Wade Selinsky, Corey Free, Joshua Rumsey, and others, welcome into the stream. Before we start the race, I do have to shut my door because I realize it is open. And people are probably going to be yelling at me to close it. So give me a second. You want people coming out, you're being too loud. I don't know why I said it like that. Let's just get this race started. I have no clue why I said it like that. Nobody in my house sounds like that. Green flag is in the air. We're underway at Old Spice Speedway. Chase Montgomery will be on the pole. And Craven will be bringing it up the rear. Don't take that out of context either. What a start to tonight's stream. 133 laps. It's a long truck race, probably the longest truck race of the season. We'll see if these guys will survive. Should be about a 2-stop race if I had to guess. If it's anything like the Busch Series race, Kyle Busch had some chaotic moments on restarts. Craven down to the bottom of the racetrack there, making some passes. Didn't really go to the apron too much that time. It's definitely available for him to do that. But Craven is definitely pressing in the early going here. One truck all the way down to the bottom, and Craven couldn't check up in time. Ended up making contact with that car. 10 spots gained already for the 99, and he's right next to his teammate in the 50 truck. Todd Kluver, by the way, in the 50. We'll drive as him a couple times in our field swap later in the race. Right now, though, Ricky Craven hanging on to his car. I was going to say, at 164 on his inside was crowding him a little bit, and then he ended up finally making contact with the 99. Craven going to outbrake him. And Ricky Craven is just powering through this field right now. Whoa, and just powered right through John Hamilton. Good thing he didn't spin out there. Already up to 19th in just 2 laps. Only made contact slightly with 2 trucks, so that's pretty impressive. Be able to start to space out here eventually once we get a handful of laps in. It's crucial for Craven to get most of these spots now, but definitely looking like one of the faster trucks in the field in the early going, if I had to guess. But we did run 200 lap Busch race here last week, so this track is definitely fresh in my head, even though there's no practice or qualifying in. Obviously, the Truck Series. Trucks are different than the Busch Series cars. Still repetition at a fantasy track. Raven going up the block on the 107. Deborah Renshaw moving the fantasy truck in the 119 out of the way there. Little bump and run for 11th place as the pass was made. Craven clips the inside wall, getting into turn 5. That cost him a little bit of time. Dropped him back a spot as well. The Torres and Keegan fan also welcome into the stream. How do I feel about Michigan's chances to win the Natty? Ah, man. I think they should be able to handle TCU. Georgia's easily the best team. It's going to be tough against Georgia. I think if any team could beat them, it's Michigan. I think they're the second best team, as where they're ranked, but Georgia's just so tough. Like, they're steamrolling almost everybody they play. They look like Bama when Bama was in, like, their dominant form. I mean, J.J. McCarthy's been playing good the last couple games. If he plays the way he has and just doesn't turn the ball over like he hasn't, I think we'll be all right. That's the big thing that helped us against Purdue. Obviously, we blew Purdue out in the second half, but we didn't turn the ball over, and we also didn't turn it over against Ohio State either. That's another reason why we won that game. First team to make a turnover was Ohio State in the fourth quarter, and that was kind of the turning of the tides in that one. So, yeah, I mean, we don't turn the ball over. I think we do have a good chance to win the game, but we're definitely the dogs going in against the dogs. The underdogs against the Bulldogs. It's a dog show. The dog fight. That's what that's what people are saying now, right? It's just the Big 12 doesn't really have good defense. TCU. Not that Michigan's offense is like all of that necessarily. It's just that TCU doesn't have a defense. I think it'll be somewhat competitive. I don't know what Vegas has TCU for odds, but I would have to imagine they probably got Michigan. If I had to guess, I could see like a 5.5 point favorite. That seems realistic. Chase Montgomery has led the first 7 laps of the race once we get to the start-finish line this time. The truck trying to block Craven going into the corner. Craven got into the back of him. Slowing the 99 up a little bit, turn 8. It'd be cool to see Ohio State and Michigan play each other in the Natty, though. I'm kind of pulling for Ohio State just so we could see that happen. It's tough to beat a team twice in 1 year, though, too. But I do think that they're going to be an easier opponent than Georgia, so. Yeah, we might not even have to play Georgia. Who knows? I mean, all 4 teams that are left are definitely, in my opinion, the 4 best teams. USC was definitely close on the outside. But they did not beat everybody on their schedule. And neither did Ohio State, I guess, but they didn't lose twice, though. I personally think Ohio State should have been 3 rather than 4. Just with TCU losing. Because Ohio State's only loss was literally to an undefeated Michigan who was in the playoffs. Versus TCU's only loss was against Kansas State. They're both conference champions, so that should cancel out. Like, I don't understand. I understand. Now, the committee's not supposed to look at, like, you know, how they're going to schedule with their bylaws. That like they couldn't factor in Ohio State versus Michigan playing each other again as soon in the season. They had to have, though. I mean, we've seen that in years past, too, where some SEC teams won't be playing each other because they just played each other late in the season and then they end up meeting in the championship. Even though they probably should have played each other in the first round. Michigan 7.5. I was leaning towards a touchdown there, but then I was kind of thinking Vegas wasn't. I almost thought that maybe my heart was just kind of saying that with being a Michigan fan. I tried to keep all bias out of it. So I kind of gave TCU a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Well, contact, and we've got a truck in the wall. Somehow that was not a caution, though. I don't know how that wasn't a caution, but we stayed green. Good thing for Ricky Craven. He crowded that truck off the exit of the corner. Didn't give him a lot of room to try to make that tight angle. And up into the wall he went, but he was very slow after hitting the wall, too. Sheth going down below the apron and then nudges the 22 of Lester out of the way with doing that. That allows Craven to get to the inside of the 22 Checkers truck. Craven slowly working through the field. He's still 6.2 to 6.3 seconds off the lead. All clear for 6th. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, about a 200-mile distance today. Pretty long for a road course. Especially in the truck series. Our Busch race here was pretty long, too. And the Cup race will in a couple weeks also. Cautions are relaxed in this game. It depends on the track. Sometimes they fly like with nothing, and then sometimes they... You know, they could basically wreck. I don't think there's... I think it's set on, like, how sideways a car gets brings out a caution. Because there's times, like, we'll fishtail enough and we'll save it. And a caution may come out depending on how I do it. I think your car has to be pointed so far sideways for the yellow to be triggered. And I think even though he was pretty slow after hitting the wall, his truck, I guess, got straightened out by the wall. And never got clobbered by any trucks from behind either, so... Whatever the case, though, we stay green. Craven will pass the 106 truck in turn 3. Throwing some blocks now as he hangs on to 4th. Kevin Harvick, I believe, is the next truck in front of him. It's either Harvick or Chafin. The 92 or the 30. 5.2 seconds off the lead now is Ricky Craven. And we're only 13 laps in. Remember, this was after the 99 of Craven started in dead last. Yeah, Tulane's definitely the best team outside the top, or I should say the Power 5 schools. I agree with you on that one. Not that I've watched any Tulane games, but just, you know, seeing the score updates, it seems like whenever they're playing. They've beaten some good teams this year, too. Of course, beat Cincy. They were defending not only conference champions, but they were in the playoffs. Wasn't it last year Cincinnati was in? Could be wrong. Might have been the year before that. Little undercut move there. Craven to the outside of Chafin going into turn 3. It's gonna be really tough to overtake him, but what an undercut and crossover move by Craven. That was smooth. And he's up to 3rd. Ricky Craven started very wide going into turn 3. Arced that corner off, pinned the truck down to the apron with all 4 tires, and cleared the 30 with a clean pass. Chafin driving it in deep, trying to get back to the inside of the 99. He's there. Craven trying to crowd him now. Good little battle going on for 3rd place. Into turn 1. Chad Chafin not giving up in this battle for third. Craven not going to widen the arc out too much. He's just going to dive it straight down to the bottom. That didn't work too well. Met the Tulane head coach before? Oh, interesting. I don't even know who their head coach is, but that's cool. I don't watch enough college football. Probably because I'm working Saturdays. Otherwise, I would. During the NASCAR offseason, I definitely would. I mean, that's what I do with the NFL, but that's because I'm off of work on Sundays, though, so works out a little easier. Into turns 1 and 2, Craven and Chafin continue to battle for third place, and it is a great battle for position right now between these two trucks. Craven can have the advantage down in turn 3 on the bottom, makes another clean pass, and it's clean racing between these two back and forth also. They were closing in on the 6 until they started battling each other, and then Hornaday started to slowly pull away from him. Craven's got a few truck links on him, though, heading into turn 8 this time, so I don't think Chafin's going to be able to get back to him this time. .46.506 that last lap. Fastest lap for Craven through 17 completed laps in the Cheese Wheel 200 tonight at the Old Spice Speedway. About a 4.1 second lead. Another truck race this week. That will be Friday night at Richmond. It'll be our 13th race of the schedule. Then we'll have another off week for the truck series before the following week. Plan on bringing it back again. As of right now. Willie Fritz. Met him when he was at Georgia Southern. 46.473 that last lap, even quicker by about 300ths of a second than the lap before. 3300ths to be exact. Craven's definitely showing some speed in this 99 truck as he closes on Ryan Hornaday. He'll be on the outside into turn 3. He'll try that undercut move. Same thing he did on Chafin earlier. And clears Hornaday too. It was a little closer that time, but he did clear him. Craven's got that move down. I would not have been able to do that in the Busch Series the other day. I think these trucks have a little bit more downforce, and that's helping me be able to pull that move off. We're taking the corner naturally slower. I'd have to imagine Craven will get to Montgomery at some point. Again, it's long forgotten, but considering there's only 14 races left in the season, it is a very tight points battle in the Truck Series. Remember in our first season, we had 4 drivers have a shot at the championship going into the final race with a full season points format in a 25 race season, which is the same as this. As of right now, you got 6 guys within 150 points of each other. Going into the second half of the campaign, and it's going to be a very interesting one. Come down the stretch, especially at the season finale, right back at Daytona again. A track that I've never won at in the Truck Series or the Cups. Well, haven't won at the Truck or the Cup until we finally won the Cup, but still have to win a truck race at Daytona and still have to win a Daytona 500. Even though we conquered it once, it still has my number more often than not. So really trying to build this points lead up as much as possible. The quicker Craven can get to the lead, the quicker and most likely his odds are going to increase in trying to get the most laps led, which is 10 bonus points versus 5 for leading 1 lap. Or however many laps you end up leading, that isn't the most. Montgomery had the advantage of qualifying on the pole, but again, Craven did not qualify at all, so started at the tail. But he has made his way up through the field fairly quickly. He kind of slowed out a little bit once he got inside the top 10, but still has made passes and eventually is getting himself up here. Once he gets by the 18, he's going to have a lot of clean air. So there's no lap traffic in sight for the meantime as well. Wade Selensky, welcome into the stream. Raven's still closing on the 18 of Chase Montgomery. All over his back bumper as they head for turns 5 and 6. Montgomery got through the shifts a little bit quicker than the 99 there, but Craven trying to get a run on him. Heading for turn 8. Craven trying to go to the outside. Oh, he just hooked it! My goodness! Around goes Chase Montgomery. Caution's out. Look at all the rubber on the front of the 99. Luckily, he didn't go into the wall. Ron Hornaday had to go in the grass to miss him. I tried the undercut move and I mistimed it and just hooked him. It doesn't work in turn 8. At least I mistimed it. It probably does. I just waited too late to make the move. That's going to send Craven right back to the tail end of the field. And the caution came out, I believe, before Craven was in the lead, because that's why the 18 has scored the leader. So no laps led still for Ricky Craven, and he's going to have to try to go from the back to the front again. Can't take fuel or tires, causing the accident. Yeah, that was my bad on that one. I couldn't have hooked him any cleaner. Thankfully, he didn't hit the wall. I would have really felt bad if he did. Montgomery should still have good speed in his race truck as he was able to lock it down and keep from hitting the wall. Good job by Hornaday missing him as well. Don't have the Mr. Clean Crew unlocked for the truck series yet. I'll get on that as soon as I can. Oh, green flag back in the air, lap 27. Chase Montgomery's led every lap so far. That's going to hurt Craven in trying to get the most laps led. He did not need that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chase Montgomery is going to be a rival now after that. Which is unfortunate. In that instance, if I was actually driving this race truck, I would have been telling my crew chief to immediately tell the 18 crew it was a complete accident. Timed it perfect the first 2 times, and that time not so much. 164 about got turned. Going through the chute. Even really late into the braking zone. Just trying to make some passes. You got an autographed poster, alright. Raven gonna look to take it 3 wide into 3. Should easily make the pass down here. We know he's much faster than everybody at the tail end of the field. A little bit of a power slide off the exit of the corner as he got back into the gas just a little bit too quick. Fishtailing, but luckily never made contact with the wall or another truck. Big block by Terry Cook, almost completely chopped off the truck right in front of the 99. Craven had to check up to keep from hitting anybody. Alright, dude. I will say this right now. I know you're the apron guy again. Alright. I don't care that, you know, you watch. I appreciate you tuning in. But there's a reason why I banned your other accounts. So we're not going to get into this discussion again. You know what I'm talking about. It just gets old real fast. I'm able to tune you out, usually, but it ruins it for everybody else, so. That's your warning. Ah, geez, I didn't realize that truck was on the inside. I almost turned right into him. Could have easily turned myself. NASCAR Blood, thanks for tuning in also. Ricky Craven's definitely got a lot more speed than his teammate Clover. Clover's outside the top 10 in points right now versus Craven leading in the standings, if that tells you anything. Clover was in the top 10 for a while, but not there anymore. "32 laps into this 133-lap race. Nobody has pitted yet. And it should be a two-stopper. Maybe a one. I mean, the Truck Series fuel window is longer than the Busch or the Cup Series, so maybe it could be made in one stop. Busch Series race, we saw guys going about 60 laps on fuel. Around this mile-and-a-half road course. I mean, if it wasn't allowed, I wouldn't be doing it. You would not get away with that in NASCAR 21. If this wasn't, honestly, like if it was Watkins Glen or Sonoma, like if it was an actual road course, I definitely wouldn't be on the apron. I mean, really, there isn't an apron, I guess, to go through on those tracks that I can think of, but I wouldn't be shortcutting anything. Mark DeMars, welcome into the stream. Big run by Craven, somehow kept it off the 38. Almost got into the 120. Now he's in the middle. 3 wide. I knew there was going to be contact there. Washed up into the 38 a little bit. The 120 squeaks by on the bottom. So Ricky Craven, 10.4 seconds off the lead again. He started at the tail end of the field today. Has not led yet. Up to 16th. No practice or qualifying in this one. And Chase Montgomery's led every single lap in this race. NASCAR Blood, also welcome into the stream. I didn't see you in the chat. Maybe I called you out already. I don't know. I was thinking I didn't, so figured I'd say something. Contact, big block there. Trying to get to the bottom in time. It sounded like there was some contact behind. One truck off into the grass. I think Shigeki Hattori about turned the truck that was behind Craven going into turn 3. We've had one caution today. It was when Craven had actually driven up through the field the first time. Got up to second, accidentally turned Chase Montgomery, battling him for the lead. So he had to go to the tail end of the field. Just under 100 to go. Montgomery leading a lot of laps, though. And he's going to continue to lead for quite some time because Craven has just now gotten inside the top 10. A 3-wide pass on Kevin Harvick and Bobby Hamilton to move up to 9th. But he's still 9.1 seconds off the lead and 7 trucks between himself and the 18 out in front of the field. Ran his fastest lap, 46.094 that last lap. Close enough to Renshaw to try to make this move down to the bottom into turn 3. And pass is made. Oh my gosh, and that might be another wreck. No, it was not. I think the wall really straightened out the 99. Long drive to get through the field. I mean, this is basically deja vu of what we were trying to do the first time. Made a lot more contact getting through the pack this time around, though. Definitely tell there's somewhat of a sense of urgency here for Ricky Craven, knowing that his chance to lead the most laps is starting to slip away, even though he's got one of the fastest trucks in the field. It's going to take him past lap 50 to get to the lead at this rate. Unless we get a caution and maybe he has a great restart, but that'd be about it. Quite get alongside Bill Lester yet. Still 8.2 seconds off the lead. He was about a tenth slower than Montgomery that last lap as he's been trapped behind the 22 for over half a lap. Great corner through turn 1. On the outside in 2, but this should get him to the bottom in 3, which is what he needs to get by Lester. So that's going to work. Moving the 99 to 6th place. And less than 8 seconds off the lead now into the chute. Still not halfway on fuel. We have 3 caution laps. Gonna have to go until probably lap 70. I'm definitely thinking this isn't a 2-stop race anymore, though. I think it's only going to be a 1-stop race at this rate. Appreciate that. Definitely had a lot of fun with this game. We've had our challenges at times for sure, but especially in the Cup Series. Not winning the championship in our Do It For Dale season was tough, but was expecting better than a 6th place points finish too. Unfortunate things came down to the way they did. We just fell behind in the chase. I probably would have had a better points finish if we didn't have a chase format, but I still wouldn't have won the championship either way. I think Edwards would have probably ended up winning the championship still, even if it was full season. So he earned it. He's trying to do it again, too. This time under a full season points format. I don't know why Carl Edwards is so good in this game. I mean, he was good, don't get me wrong, but his rookie season? Compete for the championship? Wasn't quite to that caliber. Not that early in his career. Especially considering the fact he never won a championship. Let alone the fact he's competed for his rookie season, both Cup seasons we've had. He's not in NASCAR 07, which I always thought was weird. I'm not sure exactly why that is the case. So I guess he can have his time in the sunlight. Even to the outside of the 30. Cuts down to the bottom. Same move he tried to get by the 30 the last time he was battling for 3rd place with him. Now he's battling for 4th. He is not clear yet. Still side by side, having to give each other a little bit of room. A lot of side drafting going on right now. Montgomery locking the brakes up. And clears the 30. Side by side for 2nd place into turn 3, just up ahead. Looks like a couple fantasy drivers battling for position. Actually, Ron Hornaday would be one of those trucks, and Hornaday was one that actually just got passed. Can't tell who's in 2nd in front of him, but Hornaday back to 3rd now. He's been running top 3 all race. Feel more spaced apart this time than what they were the first time through the field. It's taken less laps for Craven to get to 4th, but he's more time behind the 18 now than what he was at this point as far as the laps go into the run. Which tells me the 18's got pretty good long run speed as his tires get older. Oh my gosh. It's very easy to pick the throttle up too soon. The car's not really loose. It's a combination of that and kind of being a little late to my shift while getting into the gas too hard, and causes those rear wheels and rear tires to start sliding out. Rainer Martinez, thanks for tuning in. Hornaday a bit wide off turn 2, clipped the grass on the left side. And Ricky Craven has cleared him. Definitely slowed the 6 up off the exit of the corner, allowed for Craven to be on the attack, and he ends up in 3rd now. 4.4 seconds off the lead. Still want to know who the 2nd place truck is. He is running down Montgomery. Craven seems to be a little quicker than both of the trucks still in front of him in the running order. And I believe it's Marvin Sheth in the 133. Coincidentally, it's the Old Spice truck that is looking like he is one of the fastest trucks in the field at Old Spice Speedways. Illuminati, I think not. This is a hoax. What is this? I don't remember where the 133 finished in the Busch race the other day. It's like if the Dover Monster was running in the top 10 at Dover in the Cup Series. The fix is in. Big close in 1 and 2, but then got into... No wonder it was such a big close. He got back into the gas so soon, he ended up slamming the guardrail off the exit of the corner. That'll make your teeth rattle. That was a really hard hit into that left front fender. And that immediately... I mean, it keeps him in third still because he was so far ahead of Hornaday. More time for the 133 of Sheth to try to run down the 18. He doesn't have any pressure behind him anymore. And dropped Craven 4.7 seconds off the lead. We're on lap 51. Montgomery still led every lap. We're keeping track of that because Hornaday... not Hornaday, that's who he ran last season. Ricky Craven, though, this season wants a chance at the championship. Wants all the points he can get. Montgomery, one of the championship contenders as well. Trying to close that gap today. He's leading the most laps by a long shot. Again, he's the only driver to lead. We haven't even had a single lead change yet. This is the first time we're alternating through the different camera angles in today's race as well. For anybody wondering. Down under 3.5 seconds off the lead again. Craven closing on Marvin Sheth. Big time through turn 8. Pulls right in line behind him. Those finishing corners that last lap were near perfect by the 99. Couldn't have really been much better. Great turns 1 and 2 so far as well. And he's right back in position to try to make the pass. Into turn 3. He's going to go for it. Down to the apron. Slides up, clear, but got back in the gas too soon again. He kept it off the wall, but ended up in the grass, which is going to slow his momentum down. And Sheth's going to get right back by him again. Craven just pushing a little bit too hard. At least he didn't hit the wall that time. As hard as he hit the wall earlier, no severe damage on the car. Handling's still pretty good. Craven got into him. They'll slow both trucks down and they're still side by side. Earl, thanks for tuning in once again tonight. Yeah, too much momentum slowed down that time for Craven. Oh, shit, overdrove the corner. Really chattered those front tires, and now Craven's underneath him side by side for second again as they drag race across the bridge heading for turn 1. Into the chicane coming up. 99 has the advantage in. Off the exit, the 133 is going to have the advantage down low. Craven is clear well before getting into turn 3. And now he can pull away as he takes the cut. And now he is less than 2 seconds behind the 18 truck of Chase Montgomery, who has dominated the race today. And he is very close to clinching the most laps led if he leads for about another dozen laps. Halfway on fuel, lap 55, so still a one-stop race. We had a caution earlier, so Craven looking to go about 107 laps on a full tank of fuel without cautions. So the field is definitely within the fuel window to make it to the end of this race. And Montgomery is a rival after Craven had gotten into him earlier. With that caution coming out earlier, still no lap traffic that Montgomery's had to deal with this whole race. Craven on the back bumper of Chase Montgomery off the exit of turn 3. We'll take our first field pass of the race when we get to the start-finish line this time. We'll swap to Todd Kluver for a couple of laps. Craven not going to be able to get to the 18 that time. Can't believe how late into the braking zone Chase Montgomery was able to go and play in the defense there. So to Todd Kluver we go. He is in 19th place right now. 24.5 seconds off the race lead. There's a 152 truck for 18th. Try to get Kluver up at least a few spots. Two spots gained on this lap alone already. Definitely has trucks within sight. Brandon Witt, the next one right in front of him in the 38. 46.067 that last lap. For Kluver, faster than any lap that even Ricky Craven has ran today. Definitely getting the most out of the 50 truck. Brandon Witt going a bit wide, making contact, almost shoving this 50 into the guardrail. Pass was still made in turn 3. Whoops. Kind of ran through Eubanks. Swap back to Ricky Craven at the start-finish line, this time by. Kluver is clear. Kevin Harvick in 14th. Was in 19th place. Nobody has made any pit stops yet. Again, we've had one caution. I'm sure we'll see some drivers try to split this race in half. And Kluver's not even halfway on fuel yet. I wonder if it's possible he can make it all the way to the end. He's pacing really well. He just ran another fastest lap in this race. A little over a second off the lead as Craven and Shett is closing that gap on the top two. One second off the lead. We're almost halfway. Craven's going to have to absolutely dominate the second half of this race, if he's going to want to lead the most laps. Montgomery's going to make this truck wide. Gonna try to keep Ricky Craven behind him. He's so close to clinching the most laps led. Craven going to the outside with the undercut. This is the same move he tried but accidentally caused the caution. But this time he'll lead at the line. He did not clear Chase Montgomery yet, but he will lead for the first time today. So that is 5 bonus points for Ricky Craven. Chase Montgomery going a bit wide into turn 1. Cost him any sort of a shot to get back alongside Craven. So 61 laps led today for Chase Montgomery. And now Ricky Craven leads for the first time. Appreciate all 15 of you watching right now. We had a few more in the chat at one point in time in tonight's stream. We've got 12 likes on the stream, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live race commentary, streams both for the video game stuff during the week and on the race weekends when the season starts back up again. We'll be doing live commentary for the Cup Series like we did for most of last year, but also going to be doing live commentary for all Xfinity and Truck Series races next season as well. So definitely tune in. All races I don't go to, at least. In person, and then the races I do go to in person, of course, you're going to end up having the race highlight videos from the grandstands as usual. Kluver doesn't have a win yet this year. Tonight would not be the night for him to get the win. The points battle is very tight in the Truck Series, so I don't know. If he's in position, you know, maybe I'll help him if it's not going to hurt me in the championship too much, but we're in it to win the championship right now. We're only 32 points ahead. We will be halfway at the start-finish line this time by. Then we'll have a trivia question for tonight. It's going to be an interesting trivia question. It's going to be very random. But we'll see if anybody can guess it correctly. And yes, you're probably going to have to guess unless you've been keeping track the whole season. So tonight's trivia question, because we're at a fantasy track, isn't going to be on an actual NASCAR trivia fact, but it will be a trivia fact for this Truck Series season, which obviously we haven't raced in about a month, so good luck to anybody guessing. Tonight's trivia question is, how many laps have I led in the Truck Series this season with Ricky Craven coming into today's race? I'm not counting today's race, but coming into the race today, through the first 11 races, how many laps have I led in the Truck Series season with Ricky Craven? And I'll give you guys until... I want to see who can guess it, if anybody can guess it at all. If somebody guesses it first try, I'd be I don't even know what I'd do. I'd have to do something. If somebody could guess it on their first try, without any hints, that'd be wild. I'd definitely have to do. I'd have to think of something before the end of the stream to do challenge-wise. It is not 100. I mean, you have to guess like the exact number. By the way, see 200. Nope. You get multiple guesses. It's not 69. I see what you did there. Chef coming out of the pits right in front of Craven. Craven had to check up a little early getting into turn 1. It's not 526. Craven going to put Chet the lap down in case we get a caution. Big pass there. We've had a lot of cars pit since the halfway mark. It is not 1,000. I have 1,011 races. That'd be insane. Oh my gosh, Craven getting arrow loose. The 33 truck right behind him. Taking the air off the rear spoiler in the 99 with Craven on much older tires, of course, than Cheth as well. Cheth gets back by. It's not 674 either. Yeah, I'll give you guys until the end of lap 73. I'll give you 3.5 more laps. Try to see if anybody can guess it. He's not 700. Still 1.2 second lead for Craven. Earl says 487. That is not correct. It is not 300. Well, I mean, you can guess more than once. It's just if somebody guesses on their first try, then I'll think of, you know, something. I'll think of something to do before the end of the stream. Some sort of a challenge. I don't even know yet. I mean, might even leave it up to you guys if somebody guessed on their first try. It is not 536. It's not 468 either. Craven doesn't want to pit at least until that 18 truck pits. So he needs to lead all the laps he possibly can. He's not 420. Not 396. It's not 406. Less than a half a lap. I think Chase Montgomery pitted that last time as well. And even if Craven pits now, Montgomery doesn't lead. The fact that Chase has led the first 61 laps, 67 would get you the most. That means Craven's got to lead all but 6 more laps the rest of the race, no matter who leads. There's Montgomery. He's going to cycle out even behind the 133, staying out of the pits as long as he did. And now he's a lap down if we get a caution. He is in the free pass position, though, so I guess he'd get his lap back. 5:02 or 3:85. Mark DeMars was definitely the closest, and he was pretty close at one point. But the answer is 370. He had 396 a little bit ago. That was close. But 370, that's how many laps led we have had this season coming into this race. If you count this race, we're at 383 once we get to the start-finish line this time on the year. But yeah, I haven't led that many laps. We have 4 wins, but granted, the Truck Series races aren't as long either, so there's not as many laps, and we've already had 4 50% races in the first 11 too, so we haven't really had too many laps. A lot of the guesses there for a while, though, were like well over 500. I haven't really dominated in the Truck Series. Now in the Busch Series season, we're dominating that one, but then your guesses might have been a little bit more accurate. But yeah, this has been pretty competitive, just like the Cup Series. Craven's still the only one with multiple wins on the season. That's why we've had 8 different winners already through 11 races. Slow truck on the outside. I think that's the truck that might be down a cylinder. I heard from the crew chief a while back that there was a truck coming out of the pits that blew an engine earlier, and that would be the truck. Couldn't get the number on that, but it was a fantasy driver. 46.1 second lead. So Ricky Craven is the last truck that has to hit pit road yet. Everybody else is good to go on fuel to the end of the race. Craven will continue to stay out unless his tires really start to get rough as far as the handling goes, because he needs to lead as many laps as he can. The longer he stays out, the more likely the 133 of Sheth is to just stay in front of him, or cycle in front of him, and that's going to take laps led away from the 99, which would better the odds of Chase Montgomery getting the most laps led. Yeah, Montgomery led the first 61 laps. Craven has led the last 16. And Craven could go to about lap 107 to 110 on fuel. Anywhere between there before he'd end up having to pit. He's got a long line of traffic coming up in front of him in the not-so-distant future. Power slide off turn 2. Sheth's going to make a pass on a lapper. Craven drifted off turn 8, trying to get by that lap truck in the 137 as well, and he's unable to do it. It's not quite as bad as Homestead in the Busch race before we made those adjustment changes in that final stop. That was unlike anything else that I've ever had to handle before. Well, maybe not. I mean, I've had ill-handling trucks where I've wrecked before, but it didn't go from perfect to that bad that quick in any race I can remember on the channel. Doesn't matter what the game is. What the game is, what track. $80 laps in for Craven. Definitely got to be the odds-on favorite to win this race now that he is finally in the lead, and knowing how fast this truck is. .137. Crowd Craven almost spun him out. A little bit of contact. Allows Shep to get away a little bit. And both the rear tires on the right front, all in the yellow and the tire wear indicator right now. Fishtailing big time. Kept it off the wall. There goes Montgomery on his way through. Craven's going to pit. He lost a lot of time there. He's losing way too much time, so if he's going to want to lead the most laps, he's got to go. He's got to lock it down to keep from speeding. Great job on pit road entry that time for Ricky Craven. Really trying to get all he could on his way into the pits. Two wins, 2 races, 2 for 2. 32 points. It's a big lead for 2 races. Over second. 4 tires and fuel, and the only stop of the day for the 99 bunch. Starting to get a little too loose there. He's not going to have to go quite as long as he has gone 80 laps on these tires. Where will Craven cycle, though, will be the next question. I doubt it's going to be the lead. So he works his way off pit road. He just led that lap. And as he cycles off of pit road, it looks like he is going to be the leader still. He's 2.1 seconds ahead, so that was a fast stop by the 99 crew. As despite the fact that Craven stayed out a lot longer than everybody else, he was able to get this race truck back on the track and in the lead after pitting from the lead, so Ricky Craven going to hold on to the race lead here. Never had to worry about losing. Good thing he pitted when he did, because he probably would have lost more and more time. Little racing deal there. Craven drove it in pretty deep, but the 117 was also kind of defensive, to say the least there. Still just that one caution very early in this race. Could go over 100 laps caution-free on a road course. Especially in this game, would be pretty wild. Craven on the outside, splitting around that truck that was very slow. He's able to get back down to the bottom, and kind of the same thing that happened the last lap, too. He's able to make the pass. Even with that contact, he still ran his fastest lap, 45.850. That was impressive. I don't know how he did it. Plus getting around the slow car, too. Going to the top and then to the bottom. First time Craven has led with fresher tires. That was nice grammar. Leaded. Ladle. Later, Patrick Starr came out at me there for a second, sorry. And all over the map. The commentary tonight. We'll swap back to the 50 truck for the second and final time in this race. We'll see where Todd Kluver cycled out of the pits. He's in 15th. He was in 14th the last we were driving with him. Just over a 3-second lead for the 99. 2 laps with Todd. Wow, all the way down to the apron to try and force the 50. Even Witt had his 2 left side tires down below. Todd Kluver still able to get by, pulls up, clear. As he moves to 14th place. Once again. Like Brandon Witt overdrove the corner trying to get back to the 50. We'll go one more lap, and then we'll transfer back to Ricky Craven for the rest of the race. Craven really hoping it stays green to the end. That Celeste will have to defend on any restarts. I have to imagine everybody would end up staying out of the pits with every caution. Over all the way down to the bottom, trying to get by the 178 for 13th. Unable to do so there. Actually moving through this race fairly quick. Probably because I'm used to the Cup and Busch Series races being longer. We just ran 200 here the other day. Plus, we have more cautions in that race versus this one. We've only had one. Oh, jeez. Go back to Ricky Craven now. Still 3.9 second lead for the 99 truck. Coming to lap 88. Already 8 laps since the 99 is last pitted. Yeah, I couldn't tell you when the last time I watched SpongeBob. I got so many SpongeBob quotes, like, just from that show in general, embedded in my brain. I'm sure anybody that watched that show growing up probably does. I don't know how many times I say firmly grasp it when I drop something. Like every single time. Every single time I drop something, I'm like, oh, I should have firmly grasped it or something. Something like that. Firmly grasp it in your hands. Good times. Ever watched it when you were younger? I mean, I could probably go back and watch the same stuff and still get somewhat of a kick out of it. More for the nostalgia act than anything else. If I had to guess. The air pressure pretty low on this 99, 21 PSI all the way around. I noticed he's bottomed out a couple times since coming out of the pits. Saw some sparks flying even though he's not making contact with anything. Yeah, I think SpongeBob started in the late 90s. Which was, I mean, pretty much about, it started right around the time I was born. Give or take. No wonder I grew up with it. Definitely a big lead and growing for Ricky Craven. To wait to see if Chase Montgomery's going to be able to ride and run down the 133 truck of Marvin Sheth for second at some point in time. Still have 43 laps to go in this race. The race within the race and trying to get the most laps led and get the max points day against 61 laps were led by Montgomery to start the race. This will be the 30th lap led at the start-finish line, this time by for Craven. So he's about halfway to Montgomery. And again, with just over 40 to go, he's definitely running out of time to try to get the most laps led. But he's got time to do it. And he just ran his fastest lap. 45.750 that last lap. Got by 3 lap cars in turn 8. Took him a little bit to clear the 153. Wanted to make sure he was clear before moving up so he didn't risk turning himself. Yeah, I definitely watched some Tom and Jerry when I was younger. Looney Tunes also. It was all Nickelodeon and Boomerang for me. I didn't really watch Disney Channel when I was younger. Or Cartoon Network. I never really watched that either. Boomerang was kind of Cartoon Network, but it's more the older shows. Yeah, went from, well, we were talking about food last night or 2 nights ago, and then, yeah, it was last night. We were talking about pizza. We're having a big pizza discussion. Tonight we're talking about cartoons. Well, what will it be tomorrow night? Well, it probably won't be anything tomorrow because we'll be doing a Daytona 500 watch-along tomorrow. We'll be rewatching the 2003 Daytona 500 tomorrow night on our Throwback Thursday stream. And that'll start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you won't want to miss it. Another fast lap by 3/1000ths of a second than the lap or 2 prior that he originally ran his fastest. Locking those front tires up just a little bit. Wow, 45.5. Where did that come from? That was 0.2 quicker than his previous fastest lap. 45.545. No wonder Craven's pulling away late. Even though it took him as long as it did to get to the lead, he still might lead the most laps. Really needs it to stay green. That's sentiment to be true. Yeah, Scooby-Doo I watched a lot too. Yeah, I never got into like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or any of that. I never got into like those card shows, or that's what I call them, just because they have like playing cards with them. I never got into any of that. The only cards I had were like sports cards. Like I had a lot of football cards. Quite a few Detroit Red Wing hockey cards. I had some baseball cards. I didn't have too many of those. It was mainly football and Red Wing hockey cards. Knowing how long we've been green on a road course especially, there can't be too many cars on the lead lap. 9.5 second lead for Craven. I was looking at the chat. I didn't wreck though. Didn't cause a wreck either. That's the big thing. Can't go to the tail now. It took too long to get to the lead earlier. Be a little risky if I had to try doing it again. I'd like to know where I put a lot of those just to go back through them one day to see what I have. If I have anything worth any money. So I have zero clue. I have a lot of cards though. I mean, I'm talking like thousands. I had probably I don't know, maybe 4 shoe boxes full of cards. And then I also had a couple books too, like bigger spiral notebooks. I had like 3 or 4 shoe boxes, big shoe boxes. And then a couple spiral notebooks too. You would think there'd have to be something in there. I thought I had an Adrian Peterson rookie, I think. Could be wrong on that, but I think I do. I know I have a Brett Favre rookie card because I remember getting that online. Because it was a Threads one too. It had his jersey in it. Although that's probably not worth anything anymore considering his civil suit. He's got that card's probably worthless now. I have to have those somewhere though. I have to take those into a pawn shop sometime. You would think they'd have to give me, like, I wonder how much money I could get for it. Like, even if I just gave them the couple the problem is like, I don't know what is all in there. So I don't want to be like, hey, here's like a couple $100, because like, what it's like, alright, they get a couple $100, or I get a couple $100, but they have like a $10,000 card or something. Like, that's not, I'd feel robbed if that happened. I'd feel so bad for myself. Like, man, what a chump. Yeah, I had some baseball cards, but nothing. I just remember going to garage sales a lot when I was younger. That's why I have so many cards. There'd be packs that weren't even opened. Garage stores for like $5. I'm like, alright, let me take it. Yeah, I collected a lot. I never really had any NASCAR cards. That was more like a die-cast thing there. And even to this day, I guess, if you look at the wall behind me, but I should get back into... See, the thing is, though, now, like, if I were to get back into collecting cards, I don't even know what I would, like, look for. I basically just bought anything and everything when I was younger. Not for worth, just to have it. Like, but now, looking back on it, now that I'm, you know, in my early mid-20s, it's like, okay, maybe there's got to be something that's worth... I mean, I haven't looked at those things, and I had to have been probably anywhere between like 10 to 12 the last time I bought a pack. Everything's got to be from like the early 2010s and older, whatever I have. Collected Hot Wheels ever since COVID. Awesome. Yeah, I wish I would have started getting more of the 124 scale diecast. I stopped getting them when I was younger, like when I stopped like playing with them on the floor, and I never really got any more after that. Up until literally Bristol last year when I started, you know, getting the 124 scale, because I never had any 124 scale growing up, so just kind of, you know, when I grew out of the phase of, you know, growing up and crashing cars on the floor all the time. That's what I say. I mean, I guess I probably did do that, but you know, I grew out of that. But yeah, I never collected them beyond that point. Electric trains, yeah. I mean, everybody's got their collectible hobbies, I'm sure. Some people collect like action figures, like even like the wrestling action figures and stuff. Like I had those growing up when I was younger too, but I never like I never got into collecting them. So ever since like I stopped, you know, playing with those when I was a kid, also it just, you know, they just kind of sit in the basement. They've just been down there ever since. Never sold them. I definitely don't want to get rid of my 164 scale diecast. There's probably a lot in there. Saving it for when I have a kid when I get older, so he'll have a bunch. It'll pass the NASCAR tradition down onto them. Like, here's hundreds of cars. You can have them. So I'm definitely hanging on to those. I mean, that's how I got into, you know, playing them when I was a kid. It's my grandparents getting them all the time, or they had a bunch of old ones. I don't know how many, you know, cars I had that were from like the 90s. Obviously, I, you know, kind of grew up more in the early 2000s. early to mid, late 2000s. So I had like a lot of Car of Tomorrow stuff if they were buying the new, the early Car of Tomorrow. Like a lot of 07 diecast and stuff. Bump and run on Kevin Harvick. Side by side with the 92. We're down to less than 30 to go already tonight. I say already, I mean, we have been streaming for like an hour and a half. It doesn't feel like it, though. Night has definitely flown by. You used to electrocute frogs on the track? What? It's terrible. Peter's gonna be knocking on your doorstep any moment now. And what'd you say about burning frogs? Yeah, it wasn't me, it was him. I can remember being at my grandparents' house all the time, and I'd be like, whenever I was playing with like the 1/64 scale diecast cars, I was always like racing. Obviously, you know, I was in a race, and she had a Pomeranian, like a little Pomeranian. It would always like run through the house and stuff, and like it would always kick the cars up, and I'd always throw a fit about it, like, oh, they're like all over the place. It messed my race up. I always used to get so mad about that. Good times. Closing in on that slow truck heading towards turns 1 and 2. Raven got to get by him pretty quickly. The outside in turn 2. All clear. Well, a few times that Craven's been on the outside in either turn 3 or turn 8 today, and that's one of the few times he's made contact in that corner as well. Fitting, the only caution came out when he was on the outside, and that's what caused the car to wreck. Craven still wants to pass cars cleanly for that reason, doesn't want to risk causing another accident. Have to send him to the back of the pack, especially now that we have just over 20 to go. Wouldn't have enough time, and it would ruin his chances of leading the most laps, which he still hasn't quite eclipsed yet. In fact, up to this point, Chase Montgomery has still led the most laps after leading 61, with just that one lead change today. It's been a very straightforward race. Not a lot of battling for the lead, and now almost a 16 and a half second lead for Craven overall. 23 to go. Brandon Witt was in 15th the last we saw. Could be a little ahead of that now. Could be a little behind it. Travis Quaffle was a couple spots ahead of him. I think he was in 13th the last we drove with him. I think I see him up there just a couple cars ahead of where Craven's at right now. So there's a little over a dozen cars on the lead lap. Haven't really seen any engine failures today. As mentioned, it's just been a pretty calm race. Calm and quiet one. Usually we have races like this where we don't have a lot of cautions, but there's still a lot of battling throughout the course of the race, but that just hasn't been the case today. A lot of it was in the early going. We had a great battle for third at one point for a couple laps with Chad Chafin. Well, I mean, ever since Craven took the lead just prior to the halfway mark of the race, it has been very anticlimactic. A snooze fest, if you will. Hence the reason why we were talking about cartoons and collecting stuff from our younger years. It's alright to have those discussions every now and then. I'm glad I lifted there because I think the 38 was committed to turning in front of the 99, and Craven, I believe, was still on the inside. Craven had to get on the brakes in a corner where you don't even really have to use the brakes, just to make sure that he wasn't going to have contact. 20 laps left. Craven down on the apron, passing 2 trucks to put him a lap down. 178 in the 38. Craven with the block trying to hang on. Tucks the inside into turn number 8 now. Brandon Witt putting the bumper to the 178, trying to get himself in the free pass position. Shoved him wide, but couldn't quite stay to the inside. Less than 20 to go. Todd Kluver, last truck on the lead lap. Teammate of Ricky Craven's. Running in either 12th or 13th right now. If I had to guess, truck right in front of him, likely for position. Could be somebody that's already a lap down as well. I guess we're not entirely sure. Craven to the inside of Kluver off of turn 8. Across the start-finish line and now across the bridge, side by side. But Kluver's got enough speed on that straightaway to stay in front of Craven into turn 1. Oh my gosh. I just completely blew that corner. I thought I was going to turn the 50. Luckily, Kluver was able to clear the 99 because of how slowed down the 99 got after clipping the inside wall. A little animated there for a second. I was thinking that I was just going to completely turn him. That would not have been good for Ricky Craven. Or Todd Kluver. It just would have been a terrible day for Roush Fenway Racing if that would have taken place. Especially with an 18-plus second lead. Down to 17 to go. Now Kluver's a lap down. Slow truck in the 105 right in front of Craven. Craven might have to catch that truck one more time before the end of the race yet. Got into the 56 in turn 8. Yeah, I saw Aaron Judge re-sign with the Yankees. I didn't see what the deal was exactly, but I got notified on my phone. Even though I don't think I have notifications set up for ESPN, whenever like random stuff with star players Like, I don't know how many times last season during the year James Harden was like ruled out for a game, and I'm like, why am I getting these notifications? I don't even really keep up with the NBA that much anymore. Let alone want to know what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets. Like, I don't care. First game console is PlayStation 1. Yeah, this is my first PS2. Not the same one. This is a refurbished one. I bought off Amazon a couple years ago. Still doing well. Fingers crossed. I don't know if we're gonna... I hope it'll last all the way through the EA games. It's scary on whether it will or not. I've taken good care of it, but... the fact that I did get it refurbished, so it was already kind of used and just like... I mean, it was refurbished. So it's already got some years on it, plus... I've had it for a couple years now myself. Nine years. Yeah, I didn't really think he'd go anywhere. I mean, that's the Yankees guy. They're not going to let him go. And they're in such a big market, they could literally give him whatever he wants. And he earns it. Has earned it. Earned the right to have that, you know, kind of say in the contract. I just... pass to the grass! I did not mean to do that. Not that it really mattered, because Craven's got about a 20.8 second lead. Lapped another truck. Deborah Renshaw, Chad Chafin right in front of him. He's definitely lapped inside the top 10. He's got almost a half a lap lead. Hard under the brakes into turn 8 to get to the inside of the 8. 11 to go. Contact. Renshaw. Craven himself kind of squeezed himself, really. He clipped the inside wall going into the corner, and then by the time they got to turn 2, that was when the contact was made between the 99 and the 8. Ten to go. 11 to go. Sorry, I was a lap off. I was a lap off the last couple laps. Took me until now to realize it. So Chad Chafin's gone a lap down. Pretty big gap to the next lead lap car for Ricky Craven. Sure, he'll still catch another lap truck before the end of this. He should catch the 105 one more time. Dominating performance so far for Ricky Craven. And by the way, it's a tie right now for 61 laps led between the 99 and the 18. First 61 laps led for Chase Montgomery. Second 61 laps led by Ricky Craven. That lap led will now give Ricky Craven the lead in the laps led category by 1, 62 to 61. So now Ricky Craven is looking to go on and lead the most laps here. He'll clinch it in a few laps. Did what he needed to do. And credit to the pit crew for having a fast stop as well. I know obviously Craven's had the truck. He's been able to pull away in the second half of the race following those pit stops. But there's a fast stop because he stayed out a little bit longer than everybody else. He was definitely losing time. If it wasn't for that fast pit stop, Craven probably wouldn't have led the most laps today because he wouldn't have cycled back into the lead. And either Chase Montgomery or Marvin Sheth would have led laps, but because of how many laps Montgomery led in the early going, he only had to lead a few more laps just to clinch the most laps led. 9 laps left. We have a slow car right now crossing the bridge heading towards turn 1. Craven sees him, luckily. It's the 164 who's down many cylinders. Smoke pouring out of the back of the truck. Hopefully he can get to pit road and we can stay green. It's going to be tough for him to get to the pits. He's on the inside of, really the outside of the track compared to where the pit lane is, which is on the right-hand side coming up here off of turns 5 and 6. Just hoping he can get there. Craven about to lead another lap. Lap 126 at the line. 63 laps led and counting for Craven. There's the 105 once again. Craven to the inside off turn 2. Makes a clean pass into 3. Haven't seen that truck get into the pits yet. That blew a motor. He must have, though, because we've circled all the way back around the track. Don't see him. So I believe the 164 was able to make it into the pits unscathed. So we continue to stay green, which is a good sign for Ricky Craven. And we're down to 7 to go. That would have been a terrible timing caution, because then we would have only had a restart with about 2 or 3 to go. We get 5 or less laps in, and then we get a caution, the race could end. So not too worried about a yellow coming out late if that's the case, but that would have been time to get a restart in. Still sitting at just the 1 caution earlier today, and it was caused by Craven after he accidentally hooked the 18 of Montgomery, battled for the lead, which is why Montgomery was able to lead as many laps as he did, because he never hit anything. He made a great save, locking down the race truck. The 6 of Hornaday, who was right behind those two, made a great save himself going into the grass to miss the wreck. Keep from causing any debris yellows after the fact as well. Craven's just clinched the most laps led now at the start-finish line, so no matter what, he is locked into a 10 bonus point performance and be a max points day if he gets the win, growing that points lead out into Richmond on Friday night. So that will be the next race of this custom scheduled Truck Series season. Start time for that one will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as of right now, of course. Well, happy birthday to your nephew. He might not know who I am, but tell him I said happy birthday. Be like, Keegan said happy birthday. Who's Keegan? I don't know a Keegan. I'll tell you what, the Busch Series race had a little bit more racing. This one did not have much. If the Cup Series race is like this race tonight, that's going to be a long one, because that race is 200 laps longer than this race. If it goes on like this, that is going to be such a slug. That is going to be the most sluggish race probably ever. I might fall asleep. I can't do that, though. That'll cost me a championship late in the season like that. It's the second to last race of the year. Ethan, thanks for tuning in. We did have 1 caution earlier in the race. It was just before lap 30, so this is going to be over a 100-lap green flag run to the checker. Assuming we don't get a caution that ends the race here at any moment. And once we get to the white flag, there can't be a caution. So only a couple more possible laps that we could get one. 16 likes on the stream, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Craven might be able to get this out to a 30-second lead before the end. He's at a 28.5-second lead right now. Oh, contact right in front of the 99. 2 to go. That'd be the last thing I want, is to be caught up in a wreck because somebody wrecked right in front of me. They're racing pretty hard with each other, too. Shigeki Hattori, I believe, in the 9, and I think the 137. That 137 truck is already a lap down. Craven all the way down to the bottom, taking it 3 wide initially. Kept it off the 137, though, and he'll just sit behind him. He's got no incentive to try and pass him. No sense of trying to risk anything here. Cost him a win. Which is all but locked up, as he's got one more corner before taking the white flag. One to go. The surrender flag, the way this one's gone for the rest of the field, as they'll surrender over to Ricky Craven. It'll be the 5th win of the season for Craven through the first 12 races, his 9th top 10, and his 7th top 5. And he'll have over 400 laps led on the year, as he will go on to lead, I believe, 72 laps today. Over half the race. Just one lead change took place at lap 62, and that was it. Was all she wrote from there. Fast pit stop kept the 99 out in the lead during green flag stops in the middle of the race as well. Managed his tires a lot better in the second half of the run, as he's had no pressure compared to that first half of the race. Checker flag in the air. Craven's going to win the Old Spice Speedway race on the Truck Series Custom Schedule season. That was a terrible burnout. I look like I haven't done this before. It just turned me straight left. I had no grip. I'm going to the bridge. Just rolled right down the banking into the guardrail. I know Ricky Craven didn't win a whole lot in his career, but it's the 5th time this season. You would think we'd know how to do a burnout by now. Plus all the other races I've won in the other series. 42% win percentage. 8.9 average finish coming into the night. It's probably going to be down below 8 now. Alright, there we go. Take a look at the finishing results, the updated point standings, and then we'll get out of here for the night. Ricky Craven again leads 73 laps, my bad. 73 laps. Montgomery led 60. I thought he had 61. Marvin Sheth ends up with a 3rd place finish. Bobby Hamilton Sr. 4th. Bill Lester ends up in 5th. Shiki Hattori in 6th, Chad Chafin 7th, Deborah Renshaw in 8th, John Hamilton 9th, Todd Clover did get a top 10, rounds out the top 10 today, and we only had 6 trucks finish on the lead lap. See who all DNF'd. Not sure who exactly the 105 car was. I think it's Claiborne, it might not be. Ron Hornaday blew an engine on lap 88. They'll finish last. That's tough for him. One of the championship contenders, started 3rd, ran well early, pretty much top 5 the whole race until he blew a motor. Looks like Davis, Jones, Claiborne all had engine issues. And that was pretty much it. Vincent was in the 137, so considering one of those slow trucks finished, we had 3 DNFs tonight. 28.7 second margin of victory. Pretty wide margin at that. 1 caution for 3 caution laps, 109.47 miles per hour average race speed. Total time on today's race, 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 20 seconds with that 1 yellow. It says 5 lead changes. We only had 1 lead change the whole race, so that's not correct. And literally the only lead, even during green flag pit stops, we were in the lead when the pit stop started, and I stayed in the lead following the stop. So, yeah, definitely only 1 lead change this entire race. Montgomery qualified on the pole. I think he, yeah, okay, I was going to say maybe he started 2nd, but no, he qualified on the pole. That would have been another lead change if he didn't qualify on the pole, but he did. To the point standings. Away! All right, next race at Richmond, 200 laps. That will be taking place Friday night at 6 p.m. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., we will have a Throwback Thursday Daytona 500 watch-along live stream. We'll be rewatching the 2003 Daytona 500, so be sure to tune in for that one. Won't want to miss it. Here's the point standings. Ricky Craven, 47 points ahead of Montgomery, who finished second, led a lot of laps himself. So Craven does not extend that lead much, just 15 points over Montgomery. That's another reason why he really wanted to lead the most laps and win the race, and he did just that. Bobby Hamilton had a good day. He's only 71 out of first. And Hornaday blew a motor, so he has fallen from inside the top 4 down to 6, and now 248 out of first. That is a heartbreak for Hornaday, middle of the season, as we're about halfway home. 13 races to go to crown a champion. Top 3 still in a tight battle, and can't really count Lester or Hattori out. And I mean, even Hornaday can't count him out of it necessarily, with this many races still to go, but you just never know. That's going to wrap up tonight's stream. Be sure to hit that like button. Again, subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 6. We'll watch the 2003 500. Have some fun there. For everybody who supports me on a daily basis, and really and any basis at that matter, thank you guys for tuning in once again, especially through this offseason while there's no actual NASCAR content. I know the channel numbers are definitely down since then. It was like that last winter, too. I was expecting that, even with the highs that we had during the actual season itself. So I can't wait for NASCAR to get back going again and get back into watching some actual racing, both in person and in front of you guys, giving you guys the best commentary I can on a weekly basis, especially with the extra races I'll be able to do commentary-wise this year with the Xfinity and Truck Series now available with my new work schedule next year. So you can't wait. And thanks for everybody tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.